Hello.
We're not live yet. Well, we are now live. We weren't live when you
Get
apologize.
wrecked.
I'm sorry, chat room. Please don't hate me.
Yeah, that could be about anything. You don't need the context for that one. Hey, please roll initiative. As you go and spear through this, or as you go and try to spear through this rat, you hear a rustling in the undergrowth, and a bubbling, and a groaning.
Why'd you have to go and poke the rat? Why'd you poke the rat, Dean?
Don't say that on Twitch TV.
Well, there's nothing wrong with poking the rat.
It sounds like there should be.
There's nothing wrong.
Well,
with
my
poking
initiative is
the
consistent at least.
Oh dear. It's great because whenever I'm setting up these battles, I have this really calm, atmospheric, like, valley music, and then I was like, oh yeah, here's all the rats that are coming to bite your ankles off. Let's change it to action mode. And it's Richter first, which is not a surprise. The rat squirms out of the way and doesn't get injured by your first attempt at a strike. Feel free to attack back.
Hop, hop.
Yeah, that's a hit. It's a rat, my dude. Yeah, just a start. And it crunches up into nothing.
Peace out,
That's when you
bitch.
see the others skittering and scattering across the map.
How do I do the "that's where I've gone" trick?
Hold left click to pick up your token, and then right click where you want to turn. And then it will pretty much show it.
What the fuck?
That was the rat.
Like, oh,
That
shit.
didn't sound good at all.
I really my lizard brain was like, oh, baby.
That did, like, cat, baby, everything.
My baby brain was like, oh, a lizard. Alright, that'll do.
I, for one, loved it.
Thank you.
Noticeably, Richter, you did stomp through the fetid pool. That is
Oh, that
allowed.
was- I thought it was a tree.
No.
I'm colorblind, everyone.
That
You're
is
gonna
well.
have,
It is a
trench
green. It is green water in a green forest with green trees. Yeah,
Okay,
that's,
noted.
that's not going to be good for your future, I'm sure. Next are the the people working on the trees that they're going to keep on working. You didn't tell them to stop. Next is the rats. The rats. It's the rats. There's a lot of rats to move.
Oh god, they're coming.
That should be all the rats. I might have lost a rat along the way. No, you killed one already. Okay, you're good. Amaryllis! You have the best view of one just kind of charging the woodcutters.
Yeah, Amaryllis will just get the attention of the woodcutters as best she can. Is everyone back up the ridge? They are coming. The rats. 1,
They are coming.
3, 4, 5.
Rats in the deep.
Rats in the deep. I couldn't think of a better way to say it.
No, it's perfect and it's in character and I
Yeah.
love it. Amaryllis
I
is
am
just a walking
taking
meme.
root here and pulling out my short bow and taking a shot at the rat that is charging like right up to my face.
Jesus.
No, they're horrible. They're gross, foaming at the mouth. That's a hit.
Yep, that's
The
Yep.
rat takes the arrow as it like pierces and bounces off and just keeps on scurrying forward. Next is Torin.
I can see rats approach very fast. Torrin's gonna shout, everyone get behind Rillis! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Rillis, I like that.
Also, Elder Scrolls Lord Nugget that I'll tell you about. He's a Batman. And Torrin's gonna like prepare to whack 'em all. I'm gonna
Alright, taking an Overwatch action. Richter. Still a little achy from the battle before.
I'm gonna spear this little rat chap in front of me.
Ratty chappy. That is a hit.
Just poke down.
And that is a kill, yeah. Actually, that isn't a kill. I'm sorry. It's close. The rat takes the hit.
Nibbles
go
off the
down.
end of your spear.
That would be very BM, wouldn't it?
Alright. And
This guy's all about to get rabies.
Yeah, but we're gonna come back and give it to you.
A party that rabies together has babies together.
I'll take the wait a minute.
What's that?
I'll take the hit and move there.
Okay.
If it hits, doubt it.
Your AC is 18. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's close. Like, you back up very quickly and a rat, like, jumps and lunges and you're like, oh, jeez. It's actually genuinely quite gross and disgusting, but it doesn't hit you.
Start gagging like Doxy.
The thing
Chat
is
doesn't
the
know
chat has
about
less
that.
context, so talking about Doxy gagging is a completely different...
They all know.
It's from the time I deep throated him, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry.
You can't get that
Yeah.
deep with D.
That time.
Cross-continent deep throating, it's the future.
Teledildonics.
Oh my god. Yes, that is so true. Anyone remember that leaping raccoon attack gif I posted?
I thought of that as soon as he like missed it.
I'm putting that in Horn of Plenty spoilers.
Please do. People start getting up the ridges. Unfortunately, some of them didn't get, you know, they had a bit longer to go and they can't get up. Because this is like a big, like, muddy hillock, you know?
An anti-rat hill.
Hillock.
Let's start with the one that bites Torrin.
Hey, I get a chance to clock it.
You do first.
Get clocked, kiddo. Splot.
You bash the rat and it goes down and you're like, and then it wheels around and jumps at you. But you manage to step back and not get, yeah, absolutely the correct
It just like
energy.
raise the shield and you just hear like a thud.
Rat attack. It's gonna be a miss on Richter.
Fighting rat.
Amaryllis, what's your armor class?
At the moment, 14.
It's not as bad as you.
Rat crit.
Oh, what? I'm gonna die to a rat.
It's going to deal 6 damage.
Well,
Piercing damage.
It gets a little axe out.
It like pulls out the arrow you hit it with and just starts stabbing your leg.
Gets on its back 2 legs.
Amaryllis! Giant rat attacking. Bear in mind, these rats are the size of, you know, medium
Corgis.
dogs. Yeah. A bit bigger than a corgi.
yeah. Amaryllis knocked off balance a little bit by that hit. Just sort of using her roots to stay at the same place. Drops the bow, pulls out a wooden hilted dagger with a bone blade, and just slashes at the rat.
Oh god, a bone blade.
Well, I mean, that's just the flavour. But it missed, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Like it's a direct hit, it just doesn't cut because it's bone. It's like
No, the rat is far too quick for Amaryllis.
That's true.
Torin, speaking of slow.
Oh no, I'm about to get rat flanked. I'm gonna mace this boy.
You can't just add rat in front of everything and
Why
pretend
not?
it's comedy. Even though I'm doing the same thing, I'm allowed, I'm the DM.
I'm gonna double tap that rat.
You can single tap.
No,
That
double
is the kill.
Rat is a kill.
Double tap.
Rat kill.
And then I'm going to take a step back to block the rat with my beautiful body.
Victor.
What shall I do here? I'm gonna pull out. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna spear it. Let's just go vanilla on this rat.
That is a hit. Yeah, we've already hit it once. The second one is enough to down twist. It won't be bothering anyone anymore.
Whoops. 5. I can't do maths. There we go.
Rat.
End of my turn.
Okay, the workers get out of the way, no problem. Rat, attack, Amaryllis! It's a miss.
Thank God.
You know, you're like slowly moving, but you're rooted to the ground. You guys would see, and it's a very strange sight while Amaryllis is moving kind of around to defend as much as possible. Slowly, like her feet kind of never leave the ground. They kind of like extend down into the earth with thick vines and such. So the rat is trying to like run around, scurry around, and bites bark, but doesn't actually pierce through ever. The next rat is going to bite towards Torin, which is going to be a hit.
I'm gonna hit it back with Sentinel.
Absolutely. It's going to be 6 piercing damage on Torin as the rat onto its arm. That's a hit.
Stop rolling crits.
And that is not going to be enough to kill the rat. That's just enough to get it off. Get onto the ground. Amaryllis.
Just gonna take a swing at it, I guess, and hope it doesn't kill me before someone comes and saves me.
Grab it and bite it. Just, "Arr."
Oh,
That's a hit.
Might do something.
It's
Some
great
damage.
damage, but it's not a rat kill. Confirmed.
It's taken me 3 hits to kill a rat.
Torin.
Torin's gonna flank the rat. And then mace him. That's right. Splat.
You crit a rat with 1 HP. Nothing but a fine paste remains.
I want it to be like a lumpy, like a coarse pate, actually. He wants a coarse pate now. He's like, whoa.
I do like a good pate.
Rat here.
Do you end your turn?
Oh, yes, yes.
Dean skips
Richter.
his turn.
Horn of memes.
Yeah.
Memes aplenty.
Victor, please deliver us.
Spear.
I love how you're thinking of it.
That's a hit.
There.
I've got a whole arsenal in my bag.
We don't need to talk about your whole arsenal.
Well,
That
no
is
wonder
a
you
rat.
can't defend yourself then.
That is a
Oh.
rat kill. Quick
That was a football joke.
enough to defend Amaryllis from the strike.
I'm Ian.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. No, I have nothing to laugh about. I'm a Newcastle fan.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We just see this ancient tree spirit get beaten by a rat, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely.
Penis.
And how would you react to seeing such a thing?
React.
Please stop.
Rat react.
You're getting trench foot much sooner because of that.
Rat React sounds like an album.
I think it sounds
does.
like a video game.
Yeah, like a
Moment
bad Atari game. What are you guys doing?
I would yell, okay, back to work.
Well, first I am surveying the area for more rats.
You can give me a perception check.
Or other dangerous beasties.
Ooh.
You've got a bit of time. You kind of feel, despite the environment, a bit of a calmness with the spirits around. You've got a bit of time, maybe an hour or so. If you could do really good woodworking in that time, get some trees down and leave, then the flow is not being so generous with even further into the future.
So yeah, Amaryllis would say, we have about an hour of safety, I would say. These creatures are unpredictable. They have changed. Provoking them any further than that would be unwise.
Well, they didn't attack us until we did provoke them. Maybe next time we shouldn't simply try to stab these poor creatures.
This is what I meant by things turning.
It didn't attack us until you attacked it, Richter. It's a creature of Oilin. It was trying to fight whatever this corruption is.
Didn't fight very well. This will only get worse.
Yes, with your sort of callous nature, you should attempt to help these
Don't
creatures.
be a fool.
Fool? You got us all hurt. Look at Amaryllis.
They may well have attacked at some point anyway. I do not know. As I say, these beasts have become unpredictable. It would be wise to maintain calm and not risk alerting anything else that we are here.
Torin would cross his arms.
We cannot do anything to cleanse them for the time being.
We might not, but faith is powerful, and we have to believe
This will
that they
spread.
can be healed.
No. No. They're rats.
Didn't you hear what Amaryllis said earlier? Places in the forest won't be affected. What if the rats go there? These large trees, they're sucking the corruption out, and they can handle it. It's because Oilin's with them. They're the guardians of the forest.
No, it's because they're big and strong. The smaller ones won't, and then they'll find things that are smaller or weaker than it.
Then aren't you rather like this corruption? Picking on something smaller or weaker than you, just because it's hurt?
No, it's because it's corrupt.
You don't know they can't be helped, Richter.
This is foolish. I'm not talking about this. And I'll walk up to the axeman. I just be like, get back to work.
Alright, you gonna help out?
Yeah.
Athletics checks if you wanna. And, Mr. Ian, you can actually give me a nature check to, assist in the ways we described you assisting, essentially.
Nice.
Because I'm slightly worried about what that nat 1 is going to do, I'm going to get rid of that nat 1 with an alter fate, if you allow that.
An interesting thing happens Torin, you're working away with these folk, and you know that one of the things you're meant to learn, actually you're meant to learn from the chief, if he was not kidnapped by the Minotaurs at one point, is which trees are not only safe for log cutting, but are safe from disease, that won't damage the forest if you remove them, those sorts of things. You haven't learnt these yet, so you're going on the listenings of Amaryllis, although she's strangely distant and doesn't really help you out on this time. While you're working away at cutting down one of the trees, it might just be the angle that you strike it with the axe. It might be the quality of the axe. It might be a lot of things. But for a brief moment, the tree twists and turns and falls towards you. Your breath runs cold with this very instinctual, like, life or death fear of the moment. You close your eyes, and then none of it ever happened. When you reopen your eyes, the tree has fallen the other way, and the axemen are wrapping rope around it to pull it with the others.
You'd hear Torin like stifle a noise and then like blink a few times and sort of glance around, and then he doesn't mention it to anyone.
Yeah, if you look at Amaryllis, she would just be gazing in your direction, and then when you look around at her, she just sort of gradually looks away.
You may see like some flowers wilting in her hair or something.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. With that, the rest of the wood cutting goes without any kind of issue. You have this timeline, so you know you don't overstay your welcome. You cut down as much as possible and bring it away. You can, deal with everything else later. Even if you just literally put these logs on top of the stone supports of the building to be a basic shelter for a few weeks, that would be kind of fine. Especially considering you're kind of planning on packing everything in with dirt anyway. So you drag this all back to the village, which, the village is a bit of ways away from the forest. Describing it as like, oh, you're there, but like this is usually like a 10-15 minute walk at least from this particular pocket of forest, which is the one you're usually at. You drag it back, and by then it's pretty late in the day. Some folk who often help with building raising kind of do a little bit of planning. Of course, that's usually Griff's job, but Griff is unconscious from the pain. So you kind of need to do this first.
As we're sort of re-entering the village, can I just use a precognition just to check? I would like to ask whether anything will follow us to the village and attack.
Your answer is very calm. There's really nothing that you see, which usually is a good sign if you see nothing at all.
Good. Okay.
Am I awake by the time they get back or no?
Considering you don't sleep for a full 8 hours of a long rest, yeah, you would still be resting, but like you'd be at the tail end of it, like an hour or two more.
Okay.
They weren't gone for very long. So they come back, you basically pile up these logs beside the chief's hut and kind of just like... Some people are thinking, some people are kind of trying to like set up some pulleys. Because you got to get either chop these up or get them on top of the building. One way or another, whether you skip a step, right? So some people are kind of lackadaisically planning, but there's also, just... It's late. Time to rest, time to eat, I
feel like Balara could like walk around and be like, no, doing it wrong. But yeah, I feel like she would be able to
advise.
Yeah. Not necessarily, not to Griff's level probably, but she would definitely be able to make sure that stuff wasn't going to fall down and kill people.
Yes, if you just let the kind of meatheads do it, anything could happen. Why don't you give me a survival roll real quick?
Sure.
Can I go and find Torin wherever he was?
Yeah.
Has gone.
Where would Torin go after coming back to camp?
He would probably be with Leha helping.
Okay, so I'd like.
There's so many like displaced people. There's no door at this point. You could knock on the wood of the side of it or something. But yeah.
It would just be a courtesy. Torin, may I have a word, please?
Oh, hey, Rita. Sure. As long as it's quick. He'd like put down like a mortar and pestle that he's like mushing some bits in.
Mushy bits.
It's like a beetle, bit of dung, some herbs. Good for what ails you.
You're doing good. All of you are doing good. Even your friend Balara. She did well during the attack.
Thanks.
The reason for this talk is, well, actually, two things. I would like you to talk to her and make sure that she is prepared for what's going to come. I don't think she's ready.
What do you mean?
You and me trained for this. We are fighters.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain none of us want other people to be hurt. That's all. Just talk to her, please.
I don't really know what I could say that would help. I mean, the fight's over now, right, Richter? I know there's going to be some of these animals for a bit, but that's it. We fought off the Minotaur. You know, the village is safe, right?
I can't tell whether naivety ends and the faith begins with you.
I don't think we deserve this.
We don't deserve it, no. Of course not. Who deserves a dragon coming from the sky?
Yeah. That's fair.
Which leads me to my second point. Those rats in the forest. They didn't deserve my spear, but they are cursed. I didn't even believe in curses 48 hours ago, but here we are.
Richter, what will you do when one of us gets the curse? Are you going to put them straight to the spear?
Yes.
You have to think. We can't just turn on each other like that. We have to try to cure it.
That's why I've come to you to talk. We have differences, yes, but we need to find common ground. And I'm curious if Leha can take a sample of that liquid we saw.
Well, while that is a good idea, we already have common ground. We're all people. We're all family and neighbours from the same village. And if one of us gets sick, no matter what the cause, we don't abandon them or kill them. That's not right.
Perhaps I wouldn't just outright kill one of our own. It's a rat.
I admit it's different with a rat. But like you say, testing on a liquid would not be as good as if Leha was able to test on a live thing.
Okay. I see your point.
Could have taken it back. Maybe Leha could have cured it.
There's more. It's a large forest.
Yes, I know there's more. But as Amaryllis said, we want to do our best to not risk provoking them. I mean, gods, what happens if a horde of 30 to 40...
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's your show. Bye. We're done.
What happens if some of those boar we were hunting the other day get corrupted and make their way into town? I mean,
Well-
those were rats, and I hit them with a mace and they didn't die.
So you think that this corruption gives them a common sense that
Well, it gives them an unearthly vigor, that's for sure. I don't know when the last time you speared a small creature like that and it survived.
this isn't right to smiling? God damn it! Ugh. A boar and a rat are very different things.
Yeah, well, one can usually take a spear and one usually can't. Except one did, and the other probably will take more.
Look,
Look, my point is, this corruption's dangerous, yes. But just because something's corrupted doesn't mean that it's not fixable. I mean, Richter, think about your mum.
what?
Well, we don't give up on her. I mean, what would you do if she was corrupted?
I'll like grab him by the scruff of his neck and push him against the wall.
Look, I was just saying, Richter. You need to...
Never compare my mother to a rat again.
All right, I'm sorry, Richter.
I'll let go.
I didn't mean to... I wasn't comparing her to... I just meant, you know... Because it's an illness.
A rat is one thing. And a random one at that.
No, we're talking about if people get this, which they will.
Rest assured, I will not be skewering the villagers if they fall ill.
Good. Sorry about the mum thing.
Talk to your friend. And Leha.
I don't know what I could say to Belle.
Just make sure she's up for this.
I mean, I'm not really sure what she's seen out there. You know, she
Seeing
disappears
things and
for...
seeing things are very different.
Yeah, I suppose.
Look, we all, everybody owes everything something for that attack. We all did well. She did well.
Right,
I
yeah,
don't
I'll
know if it was luck or I'm just making sure she's not in over her head. That's all.
don't worry, Richter, I'll go speak to her right now.
And then talk to Leha about that liquid. Yes.
Well, why don't you talk to Leha right now, actually? I can't tell her any more than you can. Maybe grab Amaryllis. She seems to be in touch with these sorts of things.
The tree.
Yeah.
I'll
She
look
drinks
around.
water.
Okay.
And then Torin would head off to find Belle.
Currently, Belle is with Oscar and a couple of the men folk of the village. And Oscar is just very genuinely listening to Belle's advice about how to... Yeah, this is just a shelter, just a big one, you know? You've layered sticks and twigs and things before. These are just really fucking big sticks. So he's just kind of there listening. He would see... Belle would see Torin show up first because she is incredibly aware of her surroundings at all times. Just when, you know, a couple of people hanging out at night over the fire. You know, it's dark by now.
You like walk up and she like has like a little picture that she's drawn or something, and she's just like, this angle, this is the angle we want it supported from. Well, oh hey.
First architecture degree in the village.
Hey, Belle. Oscar.
How'd it go? Cutting wood.
the cutting wood went well. We got enough probably. We met some rat things that appeared to be affected by this corruption in the forest, and they tried to eat us.
Such a thing has not been seen in our village in a long time. It is unfortunate.
They took several strikes from a weapon, Oscar. They weren't normal.
We have been fortunate all our lives to only have to deal with normal. It's not always the way. I suppose normal is not our way anymore either.
I rather like normal, actually. Belle, could I borrow you for a moment?
Hi.
He'd like wander off a little way.
Yeah.
Sidebar.
Richter thinks you're soft. He sent me to speak with you. He thinks that you might have been worried about what happened in the fight. Oh, but don't tell him I said this. Just like pretend I gave you a pep talk or something.
Yeah, okay. Don't tell him I'm gonna send an arrow through his head.
I mean, Richter'd probably be good at like catching it on his shield. Shields are originally really good for that.
Waste of an arrow, I guess.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to waste arrows right now. You're gonna need at least.
Have to make more if rats are attacking.
Yeah, and you probably need at least 2 per rat.
Okay. That much stronger than normal, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I clubbed one right on the head, and it didn't. It carried on going, so I had to hit it again. I mean, that time it really did stop. It sort of disintegrated, but
Fucking chuckle nuts today.
God.
Freaking drop.
I'm sorry, Neil. I'm trying to take this seriously.
we've all been corrupted.
You were corrupted before the dragon attack.
Oh fuck.
But yeah, now that Richter mentions it, your dad's leg has been on for a long time. Even if we chop it off, he still might die.
Got the mushroom things. Why can't we take care of it?
It's not really clean. There's a lot of blood in that place right now, and a lot of bad energy and
there's shelters all over the place. I've built at least 6 over the past couple of nights.
Look, I'm
get
just
him
telling...
in one and get the leg off. I'm sorry. Do it.
And he'll need to stop drinking.
He'd sooner die.
Well, having a leg like that attached puts a lot of strain on the body, and if you continue drinking, you just put more strain on it. He's going to really need to cut back, or he won't make it through the winter, I don't think.
Well, let's do what we can while we can, and I'll talk to him. No promises, but we need to get the leg off him, or else he certainly will die. Right?
Yeah.
I know that he's suffering. I know that there's more suffering to come. Taking away one of very few things that he loves is not going to sit well with him.
No, but he will live, so, you know, death, drinking, you know, you gotta weigh it up.
I think he'll like this a lot less coming from me than from Leia.
I mean, I thought maybe he'd listen to you. You are his daughter, after all.
He listens to my jokes. He doesn't listen to my advice.
Right, well, I suppose Leia will tell him then. I mean...
I can be there. If you think that will help, but you know Griff.
Yeah, you probably want to be there to help hold him down, actually.
All right.
I'll speak to Leia and I'll see when
Tonight.
she thinks. When she
I got
thinks
what
is,
she asked for.
when she thinks it's safe to get the leg off.
Do I need to build a whole new shelter right now? I'll do it.
Look, everyone's trying their hardest. All
I
right.
know. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm being
We'll do-
unnecessarily cruel.
We'll
I'm
do
just very
everything
worried.
we can for your dad. All right, Belle.
Thank you. He doesn't get a lot of that, you know? People are really hard on him.
Yeah, I know.
And if he
Yeah.
dies because people don't like him, if he doesn't get the care that he deserves because people don't like him,
Yeah, I'll speak to Leia, Belle. We'll see what we can do. Yeah.
I'll go live among the diseased rats. I'll do it.
I mean, they'll probably eat you.
Thank you.
He gives a
That
sort of
Richter,
sad,
though, huh?
he gives a sort of sad smile and like hand on the shoulder, and then walks off towards Leia's hut.
Thinks I, like, yeah, she wanders back, muttering, just like, thinks I can't handle my fucking soul. I killed 4 rats.
You gonna go talk to Leia?
Yeah.
Leia is kind of doing what you were doing, mixing together poultices and salves using the blue lady.
Unguents. What a word.
What?
Unguents. That's a word.
Unguents, yeah. Mixing that together with muttered prayers and rising wind chimes up over the salves to give them a little bit of holy ministration.
While they were talking, I think Richter would have spoken to Leia about.
Absolutely. In which case, Hafiz, now would you try to find Amaryllis beforehand?
Yeah.
You would find Amaryllis just sort of rooted in place, like in a fairly central area. I imagine everyone giving her a bit of a wide berth. And it's at that point you might actually realize you haven't seen her eat or drink anything yet. And she's just standing.
Yeah, because this is when people are having dinner.
Yeah. And she's just standing still, looking up slightly as if she's focused on something.
Tree.
Slowly looks around at you.
Creek.
Yeah. Yes, young one.
I'm going to discuss collecting some of that liquid we found in the forest with our healer. May I ask you to talk to her with me?
I will accompany you and impart what wisdom I can.
Thank you. What was your name again?
Amaryllis, the distant.
Very well. And yeah, I guess at that point,
Yeah. Leia is mixing together salves and things. Leia's hut, being the second biggest building in the village, aside from maybe the carpenter's mill, being a large open space, is currently filled with injured people. It is not as busy as it was that first night, where everyone was in here for warmth and shelter, but it is busy. The people who are still in here are the people who do need surgeries. There are people who need arms removed, there are people who need eyes taken care of, things like that. Badly burned people who had to be dragged out of burning buildings. She would kind of motion for you to sit beside her on the sort of soft pillows and things by the fire. A room filled with trinkets and incense, and she's doing this very clearly holy ritual to the wind spirits over the healing salve she's creating.
excuse me, Leia.
Yes. What is it you need? I can sense you're overflowing with questions.
I apologize for interrupting. I just wanted to discuss something with you briefly.
Please?
while me and some men were in the forest today with our ally Amaryllis, and I'll look at her. We stumbled upon, I suppose, what only could be described as cursed rats, rodents, much larger than normal, with these pools of green liquid.
The dragon's poison is seeping into the land, changing the creatures within.
It would be worrying if it is enough to corrupt Oylin's realm so quickly.
Sure. I discussed briefly with Torin about perhaps collecting some of this liquid. Could you study it, I suppose?
I could look into it and see what the poisons hold. It would be low on my list of priorities.
I understand.
But yes, I could ask the spirits for guidance.
Do you think just a normal vessel would hold it?
If it is not enough to burn the ground, then it should be collectible in anything.
I think perhaps then tomorrow me and Torin will find some time to collect some. I don't want to take away from anybody else's work here.
I may be needing Torin when that shelter is built.
Then perhaps I'll go.
If my assistance would be helpful in identifying the nature of the poison, I will give it. And
Yes,
I will
please.
go with you if you wish it to, young one.
Thank you, Amaryllis.
This is when Torin can come back through and the room is quite dominated by the hair of Amaryllis. Leaning over.
Torin like trudges in and like glances at them. Hello, everyone. I spoke to Belle. She's worried about her dad. I said he probably needs to quit the drinking if he wants to survive.
Oh, yes, absolutely, but he won't.
No.
Some people, the drink is as necessary as water.
Yeah.
But he'll find it quite hard. We don't have anyone producing anything anymore. Anyone can make something if they store up fruit, but we don't have food to spare. But I suppose finding out where we'll be getting the booze for the winter festival is not a high concern right now.
Torin looks visibly sad at the thought that the winter festival is just not going to happen. Yeah. Belle was wondering when we might get round to taking his leg off.
We need the shelter built. Then the less injured can leave this place, and then we can clear space for the surgeries that need to be done. The one I will need your most help with will be Griff. He needs to be as strong as possible to keep working. So when that shelter is built, we could work right away.
The shelter's not too far off being done, but
If we do it now, the miasma in this place will mess with his humors and he will almost certainly perish. Or at least not be able to move enough.
I know about the miasma, Leha. I mean, it feels wrong to treat him knowing he's just gonna... Is there nothing we can do about the drinking? Perhaps there's some herb or a sort of new treatment.
the
My
bottle
boy, there is always a herb, but it is not always worth searching.
No, maybe not. But if I was to look for this herb, what would it be like?
There are ways to rid a person of their addiction, but it would be far beyond and not worth your time, my boy. This spirit might know far more of that than I. What we can do is treat the shakes and jitters he'll have from both the blood loss and the loss of booze. Give him salves, maybe give him potions. We can treat him, we can't cure him.
Right.
And pray. Maybe Amold will give him a grand rebirth through this injury. If the sun shines again on us.
I have seen many individuals succumb to drink, as you would say. Mostly they need to break the addiction themselves. Although I have heard tell of things that can aid them, it would still require his will.
Very wise indeed.
Taryn gives Leia a look like, was that wise?
She doesn't really give a look back. She just kind of starts pestling again.
I don't understand. Why not just take the bottle away?
That will be the
Then,
case. There will be no drink for him to have, and he will suffer for it.
The problem is, it's like if we stopped you from drinking water altogether, they suffer similarly. The body
Yes.
becomes, well, accustomed to it.
It will cause a misbalance within him. Both literal and spiritual. He will have to suffer through this one way or the other. I suppose how, we can guide him on it, but it should be ultimately his choice. Your point of whether it is worth it is not a question for us to ask. If we do not try and save every single soul in this village, then what is the point in saving any at all?
You're right, I agree.
Plus, it'll do you good to see a leg amputation. It's a very tricky procedure.
Right, yeah. He like gives a weak smile.
Speaking of, I need you to sharpen my saw.
Oh, right. I will do. Amaryllis, there's no chance that those flowers eventually turn into fruit, is there?
There's actually, like, for maybe the first time, there's the tiniest, like, creak of a smile on her face. And she says, "Alas, in my many seasons, it has not happened thus far."
Oh, well, you never know. He reaches out to pat and then like withdraws the hand.
Also, the fact that, like, she's like
He's not
And
patting the
leaning
shoulder,
over
he's
because the
just
room
like-
is too... Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's great. Great place to take a breaky brew. So we'll be back in
brew.
a sec.
Oh, brew, yeah, maybe I'll have a cuppa. Oh.
another one.
All it takes is one word and all the Brits go, oh.